All right, so here we are sending it as JSON. So let's sneak up on this JSON here and see what it has. So let's do alert JSON data. I want to see exactly where that space is missing from. Okay, so it's telling me yes, so it's correct. So here we still have that space, so it's not missing from here. We are sending the data quite correctly, actually. So let me come back to the checkout here for a second. Alrighty then. Okay, so I think where the problem is inside the app in the core. So let's go to app here. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. So inside the app here, this is where we are choosing what function to run. This is the function here, core user func array. And then there's the method, right? And then the rest of the parameters here. So here what I'm looking at is let's see, these params is equal to URL here. Okay, so yeah, I think the problem is where we are doing this in the URL, where we are sanitizing the URL here. I think this is where we are having problems, because once we filter the var, it actually removes all spaces in there, which is completely not cool. Okay, so because if, let's say, URL is equal to, yeah, so right here, if before I do a return here, I duplicate this and then just save it to, I'll say URL, is it? URL is equal to, and then explode there, and then put return URL like that. But now I can do an, what are we doing here? I can do a print readable here and say URL like that. Oh, sorry about that. URL. Okay, so right here. All right, so checkout, good, that's okay. But then now while I try to read this, I get that. And as you can see, South Africa is removed. The space is removed there, which is definitely not cool at all. Okay, so I think instead of meddling with the URL thingies here, we are better off meddling with the posting type. So let's leave a system that's already working to work as it's supposed to work. So goodbye, Mr. App. What I will do here instead is to use a post variable or something of that sort, right? So I want to use a post variable instead, or use the get where is this? Let me come back to checkout view. So right here where I'm sending the data from. Wait a minute. So get states. Okay, so it's one thing we are doing here, so I won't hurt much if I change this. So what we were doing here is we were sending data to Ajax checkout, and then we are putting our data in the URL. So I think let's change that a little bit and add our data to, let's send it as raw data. Okay, so I'm going to just get this part right here, which is here up to there, and just drag it into the send there like so. I can remove the bracket at the end there and remove the plus at the very end, but otherwise yeah, this is it. Data slash, actually instead of doing this, let me do this. Let me say var. Let me use another variable. I'm just going to call it info is equal to an object, and then I'm going to say info dot data type is equal to data type, and then info dot data is equal to, what do you know, data. Okay, so we have that. Then now we can just stringify the info by itself, like so. Okay, so this is a more reliable means to send the data. We are sending it as JSON now. So let's come back to our checkout. And instead of relying on these babies here, what I will do is the ID is going to be equal to, so let's do this first and say data. Are we using data here anywhere? Okay, we are. So let's use info is equal to file get contents from the PHP / input, like so. Okay, so we'll get that data from the input, and then what we will do is convert it to an array. Yes, info is equal to JSON decode info, like that. Okay, so all this just to change a few things. Oh, such a pain. So info JSON decode, and now we have info in here that contains our JSON data. So ID here is just going to be what is it going to be? Okay, so in order to see what's happening in info, we're going to do that and put die. So let's come back here and see if we are getting anything good. So I'm going to select here, and as you can see, I have a class with data type and the data itself, and then there's South Africa. So at least I'm getting my space back. All this just to get that space there. Interesting. So how do I get my ID? I use info data ID. So where is this? Wait a minute. So ID is equal to info data, ooh, wrong direction, ID, like that. Okay, I think that works. What else do I need here? I think that's about it. So moment of truth, yes, refresh, South Africa, ooh, parse error, online, line 7 does not match, unclosed bracket, ooh, online 11, let's see, did I miss a bracket? Yeah, right there. Yeah, okay, another moment of truth. Let's click there. Okay, so undefined undefined property online 11. What property is this? Let's see. Oh, I'm not supposed to put the $sign there. Sorry. Keep making mistakes. But this is how programming is, yeah? Okay, attempt to read property ID on a string. Really? Okay. How come? Is data a string? I do not think so. Let me try again and show info. What did I miss? And die. So it's saying data is a string. So let's see that again. Attempting to read property ID on a string. Okay. So let's confirm it's not a string. So data there, data, it's an object. So why is it a string? Okay, let me do this. Info data, like that. Let's refresh. Try again. Okay, so it's a class. Okay, it's just being picky, but I can play this game too. So ID is equal to info data. So let's end it there and duplicate this again. And then we're going to now say ID is equal to ID, right? Let's do that. So what we're doing here is moving a step further into the system, so ID becomes this now, and then I get ID from it. So let's see if that works. Fingers crossed. Oh, again, not that again, on line 15. Oh, okay, I see. This is where the problem is. So it wasn't this here, it was line 15. So back to normal. My bad, it was line 15. So I'm just going to remove that. Okay, we're done now. Refresh, try again. Ooh. Cannot use as array online. Okay, so it's in the classes now. Okay, so let me undo this and undo again like this. Okay, so ID will be equal to that period. Let's remove that like so. This should work. So refresh. Ooh, what's happening here? Line 27 in the class. Okay, so let's go to line 27 in the countries class. What is it saying? Array ID is equal to check. Okay, what is it saying? Cannot use object of type class as an array. Oh, yeah, this has nothing to do with the other thing, so it's supposed to be like that. Okay, try again. Okay, finally we got some results. Yay, that feels so good. Alrighty then let me come back here again. I can remove this by doing this here. Yeah, let me see if I haven't broken anything again. Okay, so we are pretty good to go now. Let me close this and let me click continue. Oh, Berg, continue. Then come back. Yes, so I get South Africa, but I don't get the state, so which is okay, because if I go back to checkout view right here, let me come back up here. It's just that I haven't added what I added here, this part right here. So I'm just going to copy this from the country selector into the state selector right here and put it there, paste, and then I will remove, I'll just cut all this out and put it here like this. Bam. Okay, so now at this point, oh, instead of country, it's supposed to be state. Like that. That should solve the problem. Refresh, and we have Berg. Okay, so we are getting all the data that we need back once we change. So let's try again. Change Zambia, then you see that, and then boom, then next, and then come back. Boom, everything is still good. All right, so making some progress, yes? Let's continue in the next video.